slaps. Hold on. Alright. Let me. But, hey, Core. How you doing? Okay, so, welcome everybody to this. What was that flying on my window? I have no idea what that's serving, but let me take the chance. Let's see. Let me turn this up and this down to see everything's synced as well. But regardless, what's going on? Today I wanted to call on stream again. I want to apologize for not being able to stream on Friday or any other the rest of the weekend. Just kind of got into a depression slightly, so couldn't really do anything there. But I'm here now. I'm gonna try and get back on track tomorrow. I wanted to get on a little ramble first before we start, because there's quite a bit to talk about. Firstly, I got a friend on, and we're gonna talk about this. I'm quiet. Am I that quiet, or is it like? Hold on. Am I really that quiet? It could just be that this music's just really freaking loud. So let me just turn that off and see if it works. Or probably just move the mic closer to me. So hold on, let me get a drink of water, see if that works. So testing 1 2 1 2. It was a condenser. Does it even close? Yeah, I moved it closer. Does that sound a little better? Much better? Okay, that's good. Yeah, so I got Toby, like, send voice chat. Let's see. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna talk about this. Let's see. On the right thing. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this. The Clan Selection Plus, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Well, it's not so much Selection Plus 1 and 2, but rather just kind of what this set means to the current state of Vanguard. And just... Okay, TLDR, this basically just going to be a giant vent stream, because I have had some things about Vanguard that I've really wanted to discuss for a while now. Who the heck that blew my ear?
I'm on.
Boy. You just blew in my ear like that. I was trying to, like, do some talking on stream, just, like, to prime up everything. But basically, I was just saying, like, I wanted to talk about freaking this Clan Section Plus and kind of, like, what it means for the game currently, and just what it... And to put it bluntly, this is a mess. This set right here is the culmination of a hot mess this past year. What do you think?
Like, personally, these are I wish they brought this sooner. Like, I'm not angry at the product per se. It's like the event that's going to happen before it. Because mainly, you have Overdress, which is most likely heading towards a hard reboot. And look at what happened within the main situation and how stores are, like, pissed about it, especially losing money from the main itself. So imagine that let's say there's a possibility we get Overdress news in January. Then they they already have two sets. One, a set that's gonna add all the promos in, plus reprints for draw triggers. Why didn't they do this sooner? Even later? Because the promo situation is bad. Why would you release promos that will enhance a deck's ability? All that will make them even currently viable in the metagame. Why release them as promos constantly? Not once, not twice, but multiple times. It's, and why not just put them all in a set? Why just release them as promos? It messes up because even in English, there's still a lot of promos we still haven't gotten. For how many months? They keep doing this all the time. Each promo you see, and it's like the one argument I'll make is for the Try 3 promo since they came out later. That one I would give a pass by, but the other stuff, like, come on, look at Nubas. They have a searcher that's a promo, a freaking promo. Why not add it in the main set? There are so many things they could have substituted them. It's not like like nine out of 10 of the cards are like mandatory staples in most of the stuff, like especially the rares and commons as well. Why not just add them in the main set or just create a separate set like Finance Collection? They've done it before. They can do it again, or just reprint them in the next set. It's not hard. Why answer the problems that we've been why answer the problems that we've been requesting only towards the climax of the entire era, whereas we're going to transition to a new era? It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
even when stores, especially with stores, that's the one I'm worried about, because it's gonna be like the way I'm seeing it's gonna be the same repeat again, like this in the entire main situation. They're just gonna lose money on it. Look at how prices are tanking in BT11.
Yep.
Look at all of them. That's it, because nobody's buying anything. They're only doing this just so they can like recover profits. I'm really curious to see the profits on the second half of the year itself, because I 100% know it's either going to be super high post Aeon or it's just going to be tanked post 11.
Mm. Yeah, you're right. So
Like,
let's break this down a bit first. So let's talk about let's start with the set in particular, because there's some issues already with the set. First off, that apparently the promos, which now I'm looking at this picture. Apparently the Try 3 promos are also in the set, but they're also potentially box toppers. And I love how they removed the Neo Nectar one, replaced it with another PG. It's like there's no way we can save this claim without straight up giving you a whole new like support wave. So here's just a second PG for you. Thank you.
like
They just said F it. We gave up.
I mean, nobody's gonna play a 3 attack deck, especially in this meta. You're better off playing unless it's like casual or something. It's not worth it.
I mean, to be fair, those 3 attacks are basically hard Vanguard swing, hard Vanguard swing, hard Vanguard swing with 2 crit constantly.
Pray that my opponent doesn't have a PG. I mean,
Yeah.
the promos are. It's not like the promos are good, especially the Neo Nectar one is really good, but
It's
there's
just
still a lot of better decks.
there's a lot of problems with Neo Nectar that one promo couldn't solve by itself. It needs more help. That's basically the whole thing. So, we've got all this. We know about the ratios. There's going to be 1 ASR, 12 SPs, and 84 triple rares, which is like everything. You get one of each in the set. So you get one of each of, I forgot what clans they are. Blau wrote this up. Let's see where it is. Yeah, so Volume 1 has Angels, Link Joker, Shadows, DI, Golds, Gears, Tachis, Grand Blue, Kumo, Mega Colony, Narukami, and Neo Nectar, while Volume 2 has Royals, D-Police, Orgo Think Tank, Spike Brothers, Genesis, Pale Moon, Kagero, BT, Nubatama, Aquaforce, Noble Grappler, and Great Nature. And, see this picture? So, Volume 1's 3, main prominent cards they're revealing are Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion the Blood, Chaos Breaker Dragon, and a new Ghosty Girl. So,
if you look at it, these clans, like these two of these clans, fan favorites, especially Chaos Breaker Dragon, is that Chaos Breaker Dragon alone is gonna sell the set. They're only doing it just so they can cash in on the final era of V. it's easily just like for people to buy a product. We don't
Yeah.
like if people are gonna buy it instantly. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's easy. It's just an easy cash grab.
Yeah.
They knowing like the current state of how the game
And then
is
it,
what's gonna like sell us. Yeah, I even haven't gotten to Dauntless Drive Dragon or Ashley,
yeah, we haven't gotten to
especially
these two.
Dauntless.
And can I just say that like it's kind of hilarious how it seems like all of them are in this, all three, including Hanzo, like in the same position.
Yeah,
That's just coincidence, and it's even weird because like Hanzo gets a new form, but then you realize technically Nubatama has so little support that they've kind of run out of bosses. So let's just make a remake. Let's just give a power up to the only other boss that wasn't in original Vanguard.
I'm surprised they didn't put Renee.
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
really surprised.
Ashley is weird because it's like this is the artwork from Zero with the uh, season rank rewards, and we haven't seen this Dauntless art before. So
Probably gonna be
it's probably the next Zero artwork, but also it's like this is probably the only one of this. Well, okay, the blood looks like complete booty. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I just don't like the art is ugly.
The art is just like the artwork for the blood is just like what the hell? What is going on? Like it looks like the blood. I mean, to be fair, I never liked the blood anyway. Like it was always like one of those cross races. Like it became worse than its original somehow. And even in Zero, they didn't fix that because like it's counter. It's you added an extra counter blast just for 5k in a crit. Like it was literally the same thing, but you got 2k power for the cross ride and you got 5k in a crit, which is like you basically paid the extra counter blast for the crit from the original. So like I never really liked the blood. I never really played with the blood, but I definitely don't like it. And now it's like you're coming back, and the original Vanquisher was not Vermilion, was a double rare that was dumpster juice.
Like
It
I'm
was
100%. I'm 100% confident. Like in the other sets, like I can easily guess on what they're gonna put. They're gonna put brawlers in Narukami.
the eyes getting
Like
ragey. Think about it. Uh, you know, at this point, like DI players like it's either Ragey or Mon.
Gear Chronicle, most likely
I
Chaos
have no.
Command. Like
It's Chronos Command, and
Chronos
it's gotta be Chronos Command. There is no way. After what If basically did, there's no way it's not Chaos Command. Which, speaking now this is a transition. The initial reaction to the set is the weirdest like whiplash I've ever had at a set announcement, in a set card reveal. Because this is gonna be a slight anime talk, uh, and some slight spoilers for If, but in the anime, me and Judo had a discussion, and he came up with this theory that Chaos Breaker Dragon was the real person running the strings, primarily because of the way GZ's anime ended and how that lore took place at the end inside the monthly Bushiroad. Whereas like Chaos Breaker kind of like disappeared. I mean, he didn't disappear. He like something happened where he just like was gone. And so up to this point, it's like, well, why is IG so? The whole thing was IG tried to like ruin Vanguard because he didn't want Kai to play Vanguard. And it's like, well, why doesn't he want Kai to play Vanguard? And the only other option is because every time Kai plays Vanguard, something goes wrong. Kai played Vanguard. Ibuki, he lost his parents. He played Vanguard later. Ren got Psycholia and went on a crackhead trip. Later, Aichi went on that crackhead trip. Then, we exclude Asia Circuit because that doesn't really matter. That's like the outlier. But then Kai comes evil and gets Chaos Breaker, who in lore, Chaos Breaker is the main like force of the Star Raiders of Void until we get to Gize. And that was like that moment shook Kai's core to the point where he's like, Whereas like it was implied he was going to go like, he was gonna fight Aichi and then leave and probably go kill himself. And I know we just kind of like way went darker than that term, but what was the aspect of, and then again, Aichi then self isolates himself, which is now was kind of like the joke of if it's basically just a redone Legion mate. So
I kind of support that theory now. I thought it was gonna be ill. I was like, okay, this is crazy, but after seeing this actually might be true.
yeah, so the theory Judo had was Chaos Breaker is trying one last time to get back at Kai. And so Aichi is basically yeeting himself again to make sure Kai doesn't play Vanguard so that he doesn't go through the stuff that Chaos Breaker is trying to get him to go through. Now, as for how this is making Korn become the worst character in the franchise, I have no idea. But so basically the whole thing was we had this theory of this is probably going to be there's probably going to be one more set for If, in which it is a climax booster or something akin to a climax booster, where we get more support for everyone. Well, I had the idea of the climax booster getting more support for everyone. He had the idea of Chaos Breaker's the main antagonist, and then somehow these ideas just kind of like converge together. And then all of a sudden, last week, we get news that we're getting a new set information, and it's two like randomly on a Tuesday morning or afternoon over there, because Japan, for them to be like, oh, here's the first set of overdress. It just wouldn't feel right that the first set of overdress just kind of gets unceremoniously revealed. So that's why I was like, oh, this is the climax booster I was talking about. I was like, I was joking. I was not expecting there to actually be a climax booster. And it kind of is, and it kind of isn't.
Like, I'm really not sure if there's going to be a climax booster, especially since there's going to be like two.
No, I mean, this is effectively that equivalent of a climax booster. This is trying to say.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing is either they take a month off a product on March, they just go straight to overdress in April, or they'll just start doing TDs for overdress in March, then OD set 1 in April.
Okay. Give me like a couple seconds. I need to take care of something. If you want to like talk a bit, that's fine.
Sure. But still, it's like the only thing I'll mention is I'll just wait, because I really want to wait for news before I will say go purchase anything at all. They're probably just gonna like invalidate the set or just transfer. Oh, everything's just gonna be into a new format like V Plus or Premium. But that's I just don't like the idea of them doing this, because if they can put all the promos all in like consistently in Finals Collection, like we had Finals Collection before, even we still had promos before, but it was never this much of an issue. Even the promos we had, like something like Dark Metal Chameleon, it always came in a set later, or even got reprinted on top of it, and it was still relevant to that day. It's just that them doing all of this, throwing out everything, like, and doing the same thing that the final booster for Buddy Fight did. The only exception is that the game is not ending, but Vanguard has a most likely probability to hard rotate. Because how are they going to like power creep gifts? If the power creep gifts is going to be 10 times worse, because we already have an issue with power creeping. The only solution is like they're gonna have to either hard reboot it or just try and find a way to invalidate gifts, even if they're adding a new mechanic to it, burying like gifts or so. It's just gonna like increase the offensive power like times 10, and it's just gonna like shy people away from the game. Even if you look in Japan, almost like basically all the best players in Japan just like are shifting to other games. Same with people too when Digimon's gonna drop, or when Gate Ruler is gonna come in December too.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. I just came into the last like bit of that. I'm sorry. But you know, so
Like the the thing that's making me really angry is like the committee they're fine with this, and it's the same thing like
um,
I complained about
hold on,
when
hold on,
they
hold on.
did the main thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. But I kind of wanted to finish this bit real quick. What was it?
Yeah.
So I crap, I forgot what I was gonna talk about. Uh, give me a quick second. So I think the whole thing, I think a lot of us can agree on. I think a lot of people, I think outside of probably Toyo, but you know Toyo is it. Hold on, just a second. I need to give Weiss this link. So so one of the oh, okay. I was wondering what that was. So I think a lot of people can kind of say like overall the idea is fine, right? On paper, this idea is brilliant, right? Like having like a whole like small little set of because this is this is basically just like the evolution of it's a combination of the mini boosters, the fighters collection, and the revival collection all in one, right?
Yeah, I love this.
Which
I love this idea so much.
like the
But I just it's just the timing is just wrong.
yeah, I was about to say like because I think like this is a really good idea. It's like you have every clan in the set gets 7 cards, right? Some of the reprints, some of them are entirely in like three, one P, think like what, one PG, one PG reprint, 3 other reprints, and then 3 new cards for each clan, which is like that's brilliant. It's a 3 reprints. They're gonna be promos and stuff. The PG, which everyone needs, and then 3 new cards, which help each of these clans. And I looked on Twitter and I saw like Freedom Dude talking about how the idea is probably like this is probably like how they kind of like introduce whatever the overdress mechanic is going to be, or like some hint as to what it's going to be in the set, which I'd be completely fine with. Like if that's how they're gonna like shift things, that'd be interesting. But I got off topic there. But this is basically the culmination of the Fighters Collection, which was basically like every clan gets 2 new cards. You know, regardless if they're good or not, something could come out of them, something could not. But like everybody could eat. Everybody like this is like the Fighters Collection was basically like here's Thanksgiving. Everybody coming in, everybody getting a plate. Some might eat more than others, but at the end of the day, everybody eating. And in Rival Collection was basically, all those promos we kind of had stuck in limbo over here for you Western players. Here we go. Here's a set. You can buy them. Here you go. And then also I wish they did something like the mini boosters again, but I can see it's like it just didn't really pan out that well. Especially since all those cards, sans one, saw any competitive play at all. Man, what was disappointment. But so a combination of those three ideas putting together, and having them there, finding ways to bring in these old cards that have been revived because either zero hype or these archetypes never got to support in V because of how the anime was handling, which I'll talk about how the anime is handling it in just a moment. So on paper, this should be good. This should be great. The problem, and like you said earlier, Toby, is like the problem is it's misplaced timing. This is coming at the tail end of, and barring something happening with Gavril or whatever, this is basically gonna come in with the tail end of the biggest roller coaster of despair, emotional distress, just just pain period that has ever happened to the Vanguard to the Vanguard, not just meta game but the game itself. Starting from Silverless onwards, it just seems like something has gone wrong in the design team. Like they were just hitting the blunt, and then somebody passed out. The D police guy just passed out halfway through designing their cards. Like he did black, then like just went on a bender and just couldn't recover. And then when he got to Gallup, but I'm joking. I hope ain't nobody actually out there doing drugs to that extent. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's like the complete roller coaster of clans in these past 5 sets from Silver Dust to Divine Lightning Radiance has been the most questionable thing I've seen in all of V series. Even the Shinamon stuff, which I have a theory for how that is, and a bit of that theory, but it is definitely like Silver Dust Blaze. Truth often spoken to justice. So we start with Silver Dust. We have Silver Dust. Messiah. Messiah is pretty cool. Alter Ego, I think, is a really nice card. I think it was a card that, the problem with the original Messiah deck was that they didn't have a good Grade 3 Ride. And Alter Ego was a good way to fix that. I think Lady Fencer is a really good card with really good fine arts. And I think everything is there, but then you had Voco come in, which is a 30k Grade 4 that basically gives power. It gives power for free and locks itself, which is just like, what? It's like, I guess it was trying to manipulate the stride mechanic, but it's like still just like, what the heck are you doing?
Like legit, the deck basically, the entire Messiah deck itself is like, oh, I don't see Volko. Well, I guess I lose. I guess.
Yeah, which is why I'm just like,
I win.
but it's like Volko is so strong. Like the issue came then. It's like you really couldn't. Volko's the spy for Chaos Breaker. I swear to Christ, don't do this. But what was it called? But it's like it just because if you didn't see Volko, it's like if you didn't see Volko, is basically like I would say yeah you lose, and that's the problem. It basically became like it was Volko or bust to the point where it's like you effectively kicked Harmonix out, which is pretty sad because I think Harmonix is still a pretty good card. I think, but it's it's so slow with the metagame because of another card in whatchamacallit, which was freaking which was gosh dang whatchamacallit, the Cross Dragon Lord, the creator card. Because for some reason, Fractured from my blade cries. Okay. You tell me them. But basic creator card, which basically took the end, a card that was already kind of like $20 because it was printed in a set no one really opened outside of Messiah stuff. Because the end was not that great of a card at the time.
Yeah, it's just that cowgirl players like will eat it up. They'll eat anything.
Yeah.
Like as long as it has Overlord in it, if it works in Overlord, hell yeah, they're gonna eat it up instantly.
Like already, it's like, but what it did was basically just say, "Oh, the problems with Dragon Lord the end. That thing effectively got it, like we say it's like a band-aid, right? I would say Dragon Lord the end isn't a band-aid so much it's the whole damn hospital. it basically took away all of the negatives of the end, which basically was like, okay, which was kind of productive because like the whole thing was, what am I trying to say? The whole thing was that the end was made to be a very powerful card in exchange for putting you on the edge. You were supposed to be like at a losing position to do it, which is like, hey, you attack. You attack with Vanguard 3 times, but in exchange you have to be near losing to do so, because you needed to have played turn 3 to turn 4. It became live effectively turn 4 unless you soul charged like really somehow and did it really well. Am I wrong? Like the end technically is. I found like the end was more fun when you were like on the cusp of death, and just like how you were able to play that. I thought it was more fun. The cross effectively invalidated all of that, and basically said turn 3, I can attack you 3 times with 2 crit because of Force 2, and I also have a rear guard that gets big. So now I have basically 5 attacks, and I've attacked you 3 times with at least 4 drive checks. 4 drive checks. Meaning, and I'm running 16 crits. So that means you don't have to worry about no draws. You don't worry about no heals to go off. I'm hitting a crit. I'm giving it to this big rear guard, which is getting bigger as I keep checking. And it just becomes a problem. And so, basically, because of that, it knocked out Harmonix from that point. Then, and I don't know why did I go that far, go hard? I feel like I just lost the plot. So, what I was trying to say is that set had, it had that much power at the top, and then you went to OTT, which is all right. I think OTT, like Susanoo, like that was probably the best Susanoo form ever.
Like I really like it. Like
yeah,
it's one of my favorite decks in probably third behind after next stage and like after like I'll talk about full Bronto later because is the Vanquisher deck alone is easily one of my favorite decks in V. Easily my favorite deck in V.
yeah,
But we'll talk about it later.
yeah. So we have that. Then we get to Blade Master. I know we all say, what's a Blade Master? This is Overlord the Clan. But I think that like had the cross not been as strong as it was, I think the balance between Blade Master and Overlord could have been like really much closer. Because I still think Blade Master is okay. Like I don't think it's a bad. I think it's really good design. I think it is like, hey, you still get the marker. It's kind of like this weird issue with the fact is like it's still 3 attacks, which is always the big problem, right? And it's like that's why it's like it's kind of more like a premium card because like hey, in premium, excuse me, but like hey, in premium, you have the ability of a card called stand triggers, so you can just potentially just have a meme off of just like attack. Oh, hit stand the twin driving, stand the twin driving vision token. Attack, hit a stand, restand. Attack, hit a stand, restand. Have the ability to keep attacking, doing stuff. Having that fun idea. You can't do that standard because they move stand triggers. But I still like Blade Master's concept. I wish they gave it a little bit more. They gave it more consistency, which I'm fine. What the heck? What'd you do? Oh boy.
Stop spamming all caps warning.
Oh boy. You done did it now. But anyway, for 5 seconds, huh? Boy, your entire stuff got deleted. I'm sorry. I should probably like put like the hold on, give me a second. Let me put the actual chat box. Let's put it somewhere. Is this fine? I don't know. Say something. Okay, it works. I was just trying to like look. Where should I put it? I'm trying to think where I should put the chat box because I probably should like keep the chat box up now. I wasn't thinking about that. But let's keep going. Actually, can I put some? Let's see. Let's see. So. Yeah, I don't know why. Just guess I'll put this on for right now because I want to actually have something there. Yeah, nah, we're fine. Okay. So, okay. Steam Appearance is doing all that. That's fine. So, oh, thank God I didn't go on Twitter by accident. So, so what I'm trying to say is like, basically at that point, like, even if you went down, the balance of the decks, at the top are really big, but the two medium decks were like okay, and then you had Gallop, or should I say Blabback?
Blabback is like Gallop itself. I just ignored. It's
yeah.
like if you bought a split during that time, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, like
I'm just thinking like $12.
That should have been the red flag right there when we saw Gallop, and it was basically just like, oh, I'm just a little robot, boop boop boop, just running around. Justice, it's basically like, in fact, it's kind of literally like, I put it like, you remember Hiroki from the anime?
Yeah.
Little kid who spam out justice and how I'm the hero, but really he was a piece of shit. That's what they basically just did to Gallop. They basically just made Gallop, they basically just like made Gallop as just the little brother in the set that does not know what he's doing, and just screwed him over. Made his cards effectively just trash. Which is weird because, like, I say, like, the rear guard, like, what was it, Randwalber? Is actually pretty good. Were not for the fact that the Vanguard he's supporting is arguably unplayable. And that makes me so upset and so sad because there could be so much really good going on there, but they just missed. And that was the first red flag. And then we had, Butterfly the Moonlight, aka the lesbians take over.
I think that set is way better than 8. Sure, it has its problem, but I think it's like a fine.
Yeah, no, I say like, depending on how like, I still say like out of these 5 sets is probably the best one because every clan in there is actually like pretty decent to good. Like sure, Charlotte has its problems, and Night Rose is, Charlotte and Night Rose are obviously better, but the gap between all 4 of those clans isn't unsurmountable like it was between Gallop and D-Cross in 8.
Like,
so
the one thing I don't like about the set is just Shard and number of terror spam. Like, if they just put number of terror, I'll be fine with the deck.
I was,
It gets both boring boring and just obnoxious. Because let me restand number of turn while drawing
You
four
know,
cards. Two
at
plus
the same
two.
time, like I
Sure.
think we finally get why they had to get rid of hard leg. Cause it's
If
like,
that had a hard leg, that would be just.
yeah, no, it's like, oh, I'm drawing cards and you can't guard. So not only can I kill you, you can't kill me. Because I'm also protected. Let's see. So probably with clans getting PG Pro and New Grade 3. Yeah. They're pretty much gonna give that in the like. I mean, they're getting 3 new cards. I forget where they said it. I think it was actually just like they talked about on stream, so I don't have the actual information because I don't
It's
hear Japanese well anymore. But it definitely is like, they're getting 3 new cards, 3 reprints, and I don't know what the PG counts towards the reprints, or if it's just like that 7th card slot. So it's kind of interesting, like what they do with that. But anyway, so yeah, nine was good. I think 9 out of these 5, and maybe out of all of V series was probably the best set we've had.
like the one I'll kind of say that maybe this set right now is kind of my current favorite set because
Oh, Lightning.
yeah, it's just mainly because of Full Bronto. Full Bronto on the card. It's like it's one of the only decks that works to add a support. It's not obnoxious and still has the same reasons of why I like the old Vanquisher.
Yeah,
Mainly because of its ceiling
yeah,
and how much you can extend its
Mhm.
plays. It just creates so much consistency.
Yeah, and
Even like Shadow playing the deck, it's just everything I loved in Vanquisher from Vanity, and it just like extended it and just added support of it instead of making like the old support irrelevant.
yeah,
Which is something I wish they continued with doing with other decks.
yeah, yeah. So now we move on to arguably the worst. No, not the worst. We're not for how 11 turned out. I would say like 10 is worse in terms of community response. 11 is worse just pure card design. And we'll get to 11, but we have to stop talk about the elephant in the room, aka Mr. Luardo, aka the new poster child for G. And how, oh my god, what did you do?
Like I think 10 is the worst, is easily worse set in V, possibly worse set in Vanguard.
Yeah, I thought that too for one reason, and
Like
that is,
11 is
and that's not because of Luard, and it's not because like any of the other 3 clans are completely terrible. Which, let's be honest, they aren't exactly like meta defining, but they definitely have like points. I would say like Gridora actually is ending up to pull its weight now somehow. It just took a while to get on that. And spikes are cool. The problem is Japan refuses to play that clan. Let's be all honest here. Japan does not like Spike Brothers. Even if they're good, they just don't want to play it. And then, Tajikaze has the problem of Anger Blader's so good, and the issue of the, equip gauges not being optional, if you catch my drift. Of, like, I can choose what I put in the equip gauge, like Anger Blader. So I can then, like, pop off with the Gaia skill to eat, then call out to call another card back. I think the equip gauge, I think the issue with Gaia isn't so much itself, but rather the issue with how the equip gauge mechanic has been handled for that clan. And Anger Blader literally has the skill that Gaia needed to make that deck actually, like, legit. So it's like people would rather play the one of Anger Blader than touch Gaia at all, because you have 2 searches with the Grade 1 Order and the Grade 3 Searcher. But my problem isn't with Lord. My problem isn't with I mean, they're problems, My problem isn't that. It's the problem of when we looked at them initially. Luard literally looked like, holy cow, how did you power creep the cross? And the other two decks are, holy cow, how did you anti-creep Gallop? It was like Silver Dust, but you know, you threw the two sides all the way across the room and said timeout. It was just outstanding, like how powerful Luard was and how not powerful the other three were. Just on concept and on release, and that is, I think a lot of people can kind of test that that is probably the moment that was the straw that broke the camel's back. You know,
Yeah,
we
it's just that like if you compare the power difference between like Luard and everything else compared to set 8, at least Silver Dust had like it had two clans that were viable. Aeon just was like above everything else and just made it borderline tier 0. Oh, I win die roll, I go first, and the main in hand pop off, and that's it. You just like already in your grade 3 ride while your opponent is still stuck on grade 1 just to go first.
yeah. So it's like, and then that's the period where I was some ish. So of course, Bushiroad had to hit it. Let's be perfectly honest. If you have a tier 0 format already, you have to get rid of it. And this concept helps build into my theory, which I'll talk about later. But effectively, what happened was, because of that, because they had to hit in the main, which was basically a $40 card, and then all these shops were basically riding on the main, it unfortunately became to the point of, well, if the mains hit and people are kicking out Luard, the main's no longer a good card, which is baffling to me. Like, the main is still a really good card. Like, let's not forget that. But because you can't use it in the best deck, you ain't gonna play it, which means its value dropped significantly. And all these shops lost money, and all these shops like were looking at how how the players weren't feeling great and everything, and it's just like some of them just like wash their hands, like, we're out. We can't do it no more.
Like, cause it's still the wrong decision they made. Like, they should have just hit the elephant in the room and just like
Hit
either
them,
errated the grade 1 to make it only for PBD, or just put like a
like the
rule in hand
restriction, like the
tab.
Sorby restriction, where it's like
Yeah,
you can only have blaster blaster grade 3s
yeah,
for bend.
yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all we needed. Not in the main, because the main zone is a whole different. Like, it just invalidated all their price, and they spent so much on it. So it's easy for them to like.
yeah,
Like,
it's easy for them to be like, nah, we good. Now you're fucking with our money. Excuse the language, but yeah, it's like you're messing with our money, and you mess with our money so bad, we don't know if we can trust you anymore. Like,
like
you
price,
can,
like
and
prices all they already bought like their boxes, and Bushiroad already made their
you
profit
know,
out of it. I'm sure they made a lot out
yeah,
of Aeon just for reward.
yeah, but it's like you have that problem of, but you have the problem of like people want it because Laura was so good, and at the fact that no one really wanted to look at the other three decks because the other three decks got set because the Laura was just that good. It's like they don't matter, and so because and not only that, they're also the clans that no one really wants to look at, right? Like, Meg Colony's not really famous. Spike Brothers is basically all but hated. And Tachi's,
Gaia does not exist.
yeah, Gaia is basically non-existent.
Like, I'd rather
Which
play
is,
true Asian dragons than even touch Gaia.
yeah, and
Like, the deck is
again,
fine. The card is just
yeah,
it's just
and again, I say this, like, I don't think it's because of Gaia itself, even though I do think he needs to be tuned up a little bit. I think it's more just how the equip gauge mechanic has just been, handled, which is terribly. Because like if you could choose a card to put as a equip gauge, or you had more cards that could do that, besides the one of you restricted, I don't think we have this problem. I don't think we have the big problem of guys basically just, oh man, okay, I pop out, pop out, pop out. Okay, I'm gonna call something. Looks at your 3 equip gauge. They're all triggers. Like, what do you do at that point? You just get screwed by RNG because you just get screwed by RNG at that point. So if all those prices of the other clans were basically non-existent. Like I remember seeing when KSAG and hopefully he's okay. When he posted about how you basically get a Gregor deck for like $50, like a whole deck for $50 of Gridora. Everyone's like, oh, they're not gonna mess with Gridora. Like, she's a waifu. It's like, no. It's like, you just see that coming. It was like, that set was like, that one mistake hurt them so badly that, I just don't know how you recover from that. Like, that's hard. It's hard to recover from basically your whole player base dipping. I mean, not your whole player base, but like a lot of your player base choosing not to play anymore. Because it was, they had a tier 0 format, and in a week later you make a controversial hit, and while the deck's still good and still tier 1, because of what you hit and how you hit it, they lost money, which means that they've got to sell the deck immediately before they lose all that value. Which is, at that point, it's like, what? It's like, what's to say that doesn't happen again? And so everyone's looking at 11, and then everyone came to the realization of 11 is not good somehow.
It's just that like the power, it just doesn't hold up in the meta game. Aside from Maelstrom and Blaz, it's it's really not that good.
Yeah.
Even
like just think about that. Maelstrom is the better deck than Lambros and Tabas. Because, for some reason they said, oh, hey, this, hey, we're gonna make a battle phase Excel calling, we're gonna make a stride deck basically with Tabas to pull out Lambros. But Lambros doesn't have a gift because it's a grade 4. And only grade 4s that get gifts are the BT cards or Gear Chronicle. Where's that? So they mess up Lambros, I think. I think they just didn't want to have the issue. I really don't know what they were thinking with Lambros and Tabas. And then I think Victor was too weak. I think Victor as a card was too weak. I like the searching skill, but in standard when you only have 3 extreme battlers, it's not as good. Now premium, it's freaking lit because like, oh, I basically have full capture to any card I want because most of your extreme battlers are actually still pretty good. Like that grade 1 that on boost, counterblast 1, restand it, boost it, give it power. Like, that's still pretty good. So it's like, premium wise, that deck's good. Premium wise, I think Big Belly's good, which makes it sad that I hear that apparently it's actually the worst build of the 2 Great Nature builds, because the real good one is actually Isabel, which Isabel already was like, what? So it's like somehow you came out the loser after Isabel basically just had a heart attack and you still lost. So, set 11 basically just kind of was a dud. It was an unfortunate dud, and it just so happened that like the best decks in that thing is just two. The best decks is just straight up two budget decks. Not budget in the West because Maelstrom is still like $30, both of them.
Yeah.
So it's like if you ain't have them before, you definitely ain't gonna have them now.
$240 deck. It's for 2 cards.
Yeah, for $40 cards each, and you need 8 of them things. At least they kind of like saw that and like, okay, well here's ASR versions of these cards, so they technically got a reprint. But with the way ASRs are, it's like that's still like, ASRs are basically just like SGRs. Back when SGRs were freaking terrible. But hey, at least they got reprints. So set 11 is a dud, and then obviously now we go here to set 12, and I say this as honest as I can. Like, had set 8 and set 10 had the same quality that set 12 is currently having, as well as set 9, I don't think we're in this position, or at least we're not in this much. At least we don't have this much sustain. Am I kind of right on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how this was handled, how how these sets were designed seems like they're not even from the same era. Like Luor seems like he shouldn't even be here yet. Like we're still like 2 years away from him. Or, they cross. Like, we're like 2 years away. But they're so powerful, it's like they warp the formats they were in. And are still warping them. Like, these cards are good. End of story. But, I look at set 12, I'm just like there's there seems to be actual effort put into trying to help these decks in some way, without trying to break them. Like for example, Astral Poets. I think, a lot of people want to write off Poets because they aren't Genesis enough, and, I can understand that now. I get it. But Izanis' Dragon is pretty nice. I really like it. I like its defensive mechanic. I like the consistency it brings. And I like how they didn't just give us more offense. I like how they made it so, like, we can make a different option. Like, I know some people are trying to make, like, more of a, kind of like a Wally deck with Genesis now. And just kind of, like, use Valkyrian as kind of like a grind out game. Which in that case, like, okay, that's something different. It's something different that the deck can do. But, but you also have, like, the old way of, I can get to Uranus and make a 5 attack turn where I've got, like, two big boys, pretty decent, like, side columns, and we just go to town. Like, that's perfectly fine. Like, that's actually, like, card design that buffs one way of play while also creating a new way. Fenrir has some issues, but it's not because of Fenrir. I think that's more so just Genesis is more so like sober light on the Vanguard. That having a Vanguard that wants to support its rear guards is kind of hard to do. Because like Fenrir's a giant consistency engine. He's more made for premium. He's more made to get premium setup taken care of instead of just standard. And then now you can talk about full Bronto.
Oh my gosh. What is there not to love about this card? It's everything I want in the deck.
Ah,
Ability to think, consistency, extenders, and sealing on top of it. Like, even thinking about the deck, there's so many options you can go, so many routes, so many things. Like, it's it's what I loved in original Vanquisher, but it just adds on to it. It doesn't. It makes me actually think instead of just going blind. Oh, swing for one, pass, no pass. Like it's just perfect. It's literally perfect.
mm-hmm.
If it was not for the hard reboot or the pandemic, I would have bought. I would have still had my Vanquisher deck
Yeah.
because
You know.
it's just it gave me room to think about deck building. Give me room to think about my plays, and even when I'm having those plays, I'm like, oh, I could have done this instead. I could have extended. The ceiling is just it just rolls the ceiling itself, and I just hope Bushi keeps doing this in decks. I just don't
Yeah.
want like simple deck building or just
Mm-hmm.
straightforward. I want options.
Yeah.
I
And
love options in decks.
I also like. I'm also just like amazed at. I wasn't thinking they were gonna do it, but I'm still kind of amazed like how much they've put more into kind of formatting, the cards defensively, if that makes sense. Like, I know Fulbranto doesn't make Narukami more defensive, but okay. Let me get my thoughts on Fulbranto first before I go into this because I'm still kind of like stuck on that. But Fulbranto is first off, I'm glad it's not the cross clone. Oh my god. And whatever that leak skill was, that third skill, you could
God.
kick. I would have sold my stuff immediately if that was the case. I'm like, you're actually on crack, Bushy. Like you were on the smoke, snorting it, just nasty. Oh god. Okay. uh, but I really like Fulbranto. It does not. Fulbranto doesn't. It doesn't power creep Vanquisher. I think the issue I have is the fact that is considered Dragon's Vanquisher because like Chang put it best, like it basically says like, yeah, we didn't think of this a whole year in advance. So it was like kind of like a band-aid skill, kind of like Summon Skull. I know someone else put like Discord, like it's basically like the Summon Skull problem. Where it's like Summon Skull was actually an Archfiend, but because the English translation was Summon Skull instead of Archfiend because they hadn't made Archfiends yet, they didn't make
Yeah.
Archfiend archetype. Uh, you know, they had to change it. They had to make sure like everybody's like, oh, Summon Skull is always treated as an Archfiend, set support future proof it. Like they had to hard around it to make it say like, oh, it's an Archfiend card as well. Kind of like what they did with like, was it Berfomet or Gazelle? Well, whatever. So that might be like the one issue I have with it, but other than that, like I really do like the card. It gives you an Excel marker during battle, but it doesn't like have the issue with, oh, I go back. I like, was it? Does it retire itself or does it like go into soul? What does it do when the turn ends? I forgot. Hold on, maybe Clever Coalition is kind of like actually updated. Is it not? No. Come on, guys, y'all should be on it. Let me go back to Reddit. Let me reread. It should be around here. Here we go. All right, what does Fulbranto do? When bound from hand during turn, if your Vanguard's Vanquisher, discard Ride a stand, it gives your -1. During the turn's end phase, you cannot get a Imaginary Gift Excel, and turn ride a Great Demon Soul's Rest. Okay, so it just gets written on.
Yeah.
So I love how the joke of, oh, it's really just full frontal came into being because it's basically just like Vanquisher getting into the Gundam. It's like I it really happened. The joke is real. But yeah, it it doesn't have the it it doesn't have the problem that it doesn't have the negative that what's it called what's his name? I just thought of it. Lambros. It doesn't have the problem that Lambros has, which is, oh man, I don't get a gift. I don't get a gift during battle to help like extend combos. No, okay, all right then. I get it during the end phase though. Okay, it doesn't have that problem with Lambros, but it doesn't have like the benefit that like Gears do or Luard does, which is like, you know, it's basically balanced Luard. I remember watching a W Slasher's video, and he basically said like it's basically a nerf Luard, which is, you know, where it's like you're not just getting 3 force markers a turn constantly. So, you know, I like it, and I like his support cards too. They're pretty okay.
Yeah, it was really well designed. I'm glad
Yeah.
like even if like the last
I
copycats, it's just been consistently good ever since its first set. You had Teutonic's Drill. It was good. I liked it. But I messed around with it when it first came. Second was Gauntlet Buster Dragon. It was just too helmet for me, but it was still consistently at least did well in the meta. Then you had Vanquisher, tier 1. Now you have Full Bronto, possibly tier 1. I'm not sure about best deck and format. I need to see how it does against Shadowheart and
Lord and Night Rose and all of them. Yeah. But it definitely has a contender mindset. So, you know. And unless like at this point it's kinda like Gavrail has to not choke on Gavrail just has to like what am I trying to say? Gavrail basically just does not have Gavrail cannot shit the bed. And I think the set is fine. Gavrail just literally does not. Gavrail literally just has to do nothing. Gavrail just has to not look like Danny Green in Game 5 of the finals.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like Full Bronto is LeBron. Gergwood is Anthony Davis, and like the Genesis VRs are basically like the other 2 members of the team. I forget like Rondo and like Fenrir's Rondo and whatever. And it's like Gavrail's basically Danny Green. Just make the shot. Just make the shot and we're out. Just make the shot, we got the championship. Please do not miss. Please do not miss from
fine,
yeah. I hope so, because I think Angels really need it. I know Maluk is like interesting, but like it's not like strong enough to still fight these powerful decks. So I think Gavrail really needs to do something, especially since I think just especially since NoCL basically just like kind of gave up. Like they gave up on NoCL. I don't know. I don't know if NoCL is good or not. I think it's not good, but Gavrail literally just needs to not punt the game away. And I think the set comes the winner in this era, in the Vanguard If era, or the G Retrain era. So, but you know, all that discussion, all that talk about everything. Oh, I didn't even talk about. I forgot about Gergowit's skill.
Actually.
I forgot about this the idea of like let me just put that skill of, you know, on attack or being on attack, Counter Blast 5, check top. I mean Counter Blast 1. Oh god. This isn't Chrono Fang. Counter Blast 1, check top 5, call 2. Which then you can, you know, if you top tech a Percival like that, should gonna go nuts. You're gonna go straight sicko mode. And
like,
you know,
even without if Gavril sucks. I still think this set is good.
Yeah, I still think. I think the set has. I think there's some like misses. Like I think Eradicator's kind of became too jank. I think Eradicator's basically just like budget jank, and No Seal is. We'll let Toyo describe that. Just look at Hokuto's Hard Times Twitter, and you'll just probably see what's going on with No Seal. But just one look at that girl's Twitter. Oh my goodness.
Like, it's. I mean, No Seal. I don't like it mainly because of it's just too offensive. But there's a lot of people that are like testing it, so I see its appeal. It's just
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's No Seal, right? It's an old unit people love, and so, you know, you know, I still think that like again, don't brick the three, don't brick the three, Gavel. Like at least get a 2 pointer. We'll settle for a 2 pointer, and you can tie the game. We're good. So all that just to say, we come then to the big problem with standard. And it culminates in this right here. Good lord, this picture is terrible. Jesus. In this. The Clan Selection Plus. And honestly, well, I mean, we still got like one more set. We still got the Daigo set, and then we still got Bermuda Triangle. But this is basically the culmination of all of standard, because this is effectively what's going to be the last set. There's no more room unless they like pull one more trick on us. There's no more room before Overdress comes out. This is it. This is all we get. This is the final set, or sets rather. And I think now, we can finally ask the question: did the reboot succeed? Well, no, that's not what I'm getting for. Because the whole thing is talking about the Clan Section 2. I want to say like it. Well, I mean, the question I'm about to ask also is answered by this set. And the question is, it's a two-part question. First off, did the reboot succeed? And the second question is, what is wrong with this set? And so
for a reboot.
If we're talking about everything, we're talking about the card game, we're talking about the anime, we're talking about products, we're talking about like PR, whatever. I think now I can definitively say yes and no.
Yeah, I have my own argument for it.
It is the biggest issue of it technically succeeded. Like if we look at If right now, it is constantly trending on Twitter. V Series was trending for a while. Shinamon definitely had a lot of fans because it was a new story with characters we knew but in different ways, which was good. I think anime wise, the issue came with the fact that the manga adaptation part was easily the weakest part of the anime for these past 3 years, because the source material was also bad. So with that, like, that hurt a lot of people. People were like, this anime ain't great, the story's not great, the characters I love feel soulless, there's not enough like depth that was there in the original anime or in G. So, no, I'm out. And then Shinamon has some problems, but I think its back half is probably one of the best arcs in Vanguard because of the fact that the main antagonist I'm not gonna spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but like the main antagonist goal is actually like really, really human and really, really sad. I think the issue is more so that first half didn't really do anything with them to build them up to that point. I feel like had they did that, like, we'd be good. And then If is a mixed bag, but I really do love it. It's mostly just the animation. Like I think just like they can't animate and keep everything on model in time, so it definitely struggles with that. So I think anime wise, it is a mixed bag, but I don't think the anime isn't pulling its weight. I think it is doing everything it can with the resources it has, and the source material it did. But when we got to like original stuff, like that original stuff was much more interesting and much more, fulfilling to watch.
True.
The I think where the single part is, I think so. I say depending on me, and then we get to basically sales. We look at sales of sets. The only like art section where sales kind of dropped was ironically Shinemon's era, which is like, oh man, which is ironic because like that was kind of like it was something like, oh, we want new stuff, and most of that set was all new stuff. We had the Astral Poets, we had God Hand, we had Hanzo, we had Markmere, we had Isabel, and then even like old units that no one really played, like Ergodio, Arboros, and Agravane. Not really played, but like they aren't like they're like the C tier, C to D tier of these clans, especially since we've had like 7 to 8, not 8 to 9 years prior to them of major units coming in. So like these decks and archetypes that got retrained, they were fine. Like I think having that was good, and then just the issue of they never got. It's more like the weird thing of, okay, I think it's time to talk about my theory here. Well, no, I'll keep on that for a second. But I think you can like talk about the sets a little bit. I gotta take this call real quick.
So, like, as a whole, I think the sets have been, like, in personal of the reboot, if it succeeded or not. I think it did. I'll agree with the yes and no. Because my issues with the reboot is just, like, in terms of gameplay, I think it failed hard. Flat on its face. Profits, it's been great. Because if it wasn't for profits, they wouldn't even be selling anything. So, like, there's some sets that have been good. There's been metas that I've really enjoyed. And there's metas that have been way worse than combined of all of even G.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. But yeah, I'd say this. I think it could just be also an issue of. Some people probably had this. I've had this thought process for a long time of standard. At least the V series stuff has just been like not good gameplay wise, and we know a bunch of people who really do honestly think like standard from frame one has been trashed completely. And there have been good moments. Like I think there have been some actually like fun decks they had. Fun decks that were cool and everything. I know you had to start off slow, and that might be a problem because they're basically just like resetting the past 6 years. So it could be just like it could just be an issue of you've tasted excellence, so you don't want to go back from not having excellence. Like I forgot who said it was like, when you taste excellence, you want excellence. You want to keep excellence. So when you don't get excellence, that's a problem because you've already seen the best, and now you're seeing stuff that's not off the par. So like people who love G and then play standard, it's kind of like this isn't what I want. This isn't the gameplay I want. This isn't what I fell in love with. This isn't the best. This is the best. I don't want it. This is terrible. This is trash. So, I really think also some of this might just be recency bias. It could just be because these last 5 sets have been an amalgamation of a hot mess, combined with the fact that, oh my goodness, we started the year. Did we start the year with? Hold on. What was that? Oh my goodness, I spelled that terribly. Yeah, copy fandom. Let's see, what was the first set? What was the first set this year? I need to. First off,
we first set this year. Wasn't it the Riviera set?
Let's see. No. Tranquil B series. Let's see. What was their first set? What was their sets? It's Crystal Melody. Crystal Melody was January. So we started off with Crystal Melody, which had the issue. We started off with some fuck shit with Riviera. And then next set was the Pillarmen, which had Vanquisher and Revan, and a bit of Claret Sword here and there with some things. Astral Force was okay. Like I think the only real deck that really came out of this set was Gears. It was Gears because people play Gears because literally right next the next stage happened and Jet came back. What the wait, no, that's not what's next. Oh, probably just like on extra boosters. Let's see, can I go back to like main boosters? Let's see. So when did Silver Disc come out? Yeah, September. September was like the first booster. So we effectively started like okay this year. I mean, we didn't start okay. We had Riviera, which then had to get eroded. And then, after that, I think we were like, okay. And then, the Coco virus happened, the Cuckoo virus happened, and everybody got screwed over. Oh, thanks for it. To me, I didn't just look at it. I'm sorry. I just saw your thing. But, yeah, we had the Cuckoo virus happen. So that basically shut down half the year. Plus. So we could even... I mean, we could play them, but it's like it didn't feel the same. And as we're all sitting in our homes talking about it, we all kind of like took like people, competitive players mostly, and what's this? Oh, thank you. Okay. Let me post this thing Cord just gave me. Image source. Let's see, can I copy link? Can I paste prices. Yeah. Okay, so Core posted this, which is, he sent me this, which is the actual timeline of the sets. So we have TD09, BBT07. This is September. Oh no, it's fine. At least thank you for at least doing that. I appreciate it. So BBT07, which was Infinity Cradle. So Infinity Cradle, and then EB10, EB11, which was Twinkle Melody. I think it was EB. Yeah, this Twinkle Melody, then Pillarman, then Astral Force, then the next stage cards, Chart 3 stuff. And then MLB. Man, MLB came out so late, I completely forgot about it. Yeah. It's like, Jesus. I forgot you were I forgot you existed. That's how like shut down everything was. We had to push things like MLB and Bang Dream. We forgot about Bang Dream too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like MLB and Bang Dream got pushed so far back because of the cuckoo virus. We couldn't do anything. So, they were basically got thrown away. Hold on, just a sec. Sorry about that. My brother needs help with something. So, yeah, it's like you look at this list and it's like, okay, well, as best you can. So, MLB and everything is just, there's just so much that impacted everything. So, so it's like the amount of like these sets kind of being want. Toby, you still there? Oh shoot, I messed up. Yo.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. let me take this off of. So
Oh, I actually forgot the Vanguard set too.
yeah.
Like most of the side sets, I just completely zoned out of it.
Yeah. Hold on, just one sec. Sorry, I was wondering my door was closing. So yeah, so basically it's a I think for a lot of people it's the amount of how much not that how quickly these sets came by, right? We had Blaze and Aeon. You know, Blaze was like the first real Vanguard stuff we got in a while, but immediately after that we got A's in October, and we're like 10 days away from Phantom Dragon Aeon. Then we're not for the fact that Blue Cavalry got delayed. Oh my goodness. Blue Cavalry got delayed still because something happened with the distributor. So like those got things same with Divine Lightning Radiance. All that got delayed. But the fact that it was so close to each other. That was so close to each other, combined with the fact that, you know, the power creep was getting immense. So it's like, we can't catch up. We're getting tired of watching the power creep basically evolve with each other. And, you know, apparently this was made by this, like, section, this block of, like, stuff, was made by the Duel Masters group, which was like the same like
Gotcha, right.
team that made
Made
Gotcha
mechanic.
Range. Which if you guys don't know what Gotcha Range is a mechanic in Duel Masters in which, like, imagine the G Zone, right? If you're like an old Vanguard player, you know what G Zone is. If you're new Vanguard player that's only played standard, a G Zone is basically a 16 card deck. It's basically the side deck of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you know what that is. It's a 16 card side deck that you have, and you can use Strides and G Guardians. If you don't know what those are, I'm afraid you have to look at the wiki for that. I'm not. We gotta move on. But so imagine you have an extra deck, a side deck, whatever, and you have the ability to randomly choose a card from that, and it comes on the field, and then you get effects based on what card you get. Like they were all getting powerful. Like some would like allow you an extra turn, some let you draw massive amounts of cards. Like it got to the point which is like that was the point where it's like Duel Masters started losing the steam to becoming the number one card game. Like that was the moment where things happened. So if you design something so bad that it makes your card game finally just like just lose its heat, like yeah, something's wrong. You done messed up. So oh goodness. Oh so you have all this, and now these two sets explain everything, or effectively the culmination of everything good and bad about standard. Which the good is, hey, your favorite cards in the past are getting some upgrades, right? Like people love Chaos Breaker, people love Vermilion for some reason. People love Ashley, people love Dauntless. Like these are fan favorite units, and there's more to come. We just don't know yet. And you know, there's occasionally some new units like this Ghosty Girl and Hanzo, who's getting new form. Like there's some, you know, there's some new things, but you know, and so they're gonna get upgraded. They're gonna get evolved to the modern age. The and you know reprints and like getting these promos everywhere is like that's good, right? Like that should be praised, right? We should be here praising this instead of what we're actually doing, which is basically just like this is trash. It is not the set's fault, but it's rather how Bushiroad for the past year has messed up. Like we haven't even talked about the promos and how these promos are like now when we talk about the Tri-3 promos, right? And we talk about them because they're really good promos. Like straight up, they fix some of the deck's key issues. You know, Neonectar being an exception because that thing needs more help than anything. But like these Tri-3 promos are really good and really help these decks out a lot. Help these clans out a lot. Especially this one right here in the middle.
That makes Jet at least meta viable.
Yeah, they give them a fighting chance, if nothing else. You know, but without them, like they can't really do much. This is the problem that then proceeds to happen to. But the situation between when they got created was they were created after Kidani got basically tweeted at saying, hey, all of the Tri-3 next stage stuff is gone. Like, it's been bought out. We can't get new players in the game. And he said, okay, then we'll have a second print run and we'll create these promos to help these decks that, you know, have had issues. That's perfectly fine. That was a great idea. Like, that was a perfect idea. That was A1, and I clap for that. Because, like, that's what you should do. You know, keep getting more circulation of the product into the game. Getting new stuff to incentivize people who've already bought the stuff to go back in for it. And that's fine. But since then, what is clearly have happened is that these promos are showing up at the same time the set release. And I can't think of any like bigger, and you know, before we get to VBT 11 and 10, VBT 11, I want to talk about VBT 10 because there's no bigger no bigger crime that was committed but the way of which how Shadow Paladin's promos worked out. Because Shadow Paladin basically gave Clara Sword Dragon two very good promos. Like I say, like these promos help fix issues with that deck. That deck had. Did I press button? That deck had. You know, enable it's like, oh, you know, I got, you know, gave you advantage because like, oh, you hit the restand the first time. Here you go, you can do the restand again basically for free the second time. So long as you've done it once. And then you also had like another searcher for Claret Sword to get to it so that you can have more room for grade 1s and 2s that you can run. And then, you know, that first promo effectively like made it easier for you to have more grade 2s. You can have more space to run more cards because you don't have to rely on just slam dunking in a bunch of grade 1s it added consistency to the deck. Like, am I not wrong with saying like those two promos are great? But like
Yeah,
that was
that
the
is 100% true.
but it's like that was the issue. It's like they were promos. Claret Sword needed them, and you can only get them by going to what tourneys or like buying supplies, which obviously in a global pandemic is something you can't really do all effectively, even if you're in Japan. In fact, it's even worse in Japan because you're stuck on trains and a bunch of people in that small island, and you're trying to get the card shops and take care of this. Which now brings me to the
Like it would be
transition of 11, which is let's see. Let me go back to Coalition. They definitely do have this. I'm guarantee it. Give me a second. Previous. Um, was it on in here? This is zero stuff. No, it was in this. It was a. Was it a Dokkan? Nope. These bites was a Gurgly. No, it was not Gurgly. I'm so lost here. Definitely was. No, was it the one before it? You know, I'm sorry. I was not expecting to bring this up now, but it's probably the one before it. Is it here? Let's see. No seal. Where's the weekly bites? Did we not have one that week? I could have sworn we did. I'm trying to find the one that had like the promos in there. Am I tripping? Okay, well actually we start with here. Genkai. No, that's not it.
Isn't it the one with the Nuba promo?
Yeah.
One?
No, that's not it. Jesus, where the heck are they? I can't find any of these. You know, whatever. But, you know, the promos for I really wish I could find them. Is it this one? Here you go, Fenrir. Yes, these right here. These three are the biggest offenders outside the Claret Sword one. Because these are all three really good promos that fix the deck's biggest issues.
It could have been easily in the set.
And the issue isn't like, oh man, you know, it's like a month later and everything. No, the set got delayed. And these are promos that you have to go and like, what's how you get them? Did they tell me? Campaign. Oh yes, you have to buy 1,000 yen worth of product to get a card pack that you get one of these, I think. Or do you get all three? Well, regardless, like, you have one for Nubatama, which helps Shiranui. You have this for Victor, which makes Victor a little bit more threatening. And then you have this, which basically, like, fixes the biggest issue with Isabel, which was resource management. These three promos are so powerful, and not so powerful, rather, so good. The fact that you have to now have to buy, like, $30 worth of product, which is practically just a whole box. Which, by the way, because these boxes are so booty cheeks, because the set was basically booty cheeks, they've been discounted to like over half in Japan. So now you basically have to buy 3 boxes. Oh, I forgot. There's one more other issue that's going on
Oh, we
too.
haven't even got to the boxes part yet. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, no. The boxes are basically like so cost down because because the shops just want to move product because they pretty much know that something's about to happen. I won't tell you what for the people who have not seen it, even though it's so blatantly obvious. But we'll get to that. But it's basically like, okay, I have to buy. Okay, I buy a box, which is a $10. These boxes are $10 now because just how badly BBT 10 just messed everything up. So now they have to like get their value back because the other cards were just not good. Yeah, they want to get out the door. They don't trust the product. They want it out the door because it's the product. And let's be honest here. Now, I know like there's been like some results of like, you know, the set's actually kind of like arguably overperforming given like how janky was, but it could just be because now they have these 3 promos because they could easily go build their decks because you know you spend like $50, you get 5 boxes. Like shoot, I build a deck out this set if you gave me 5 boxes for $50 and I get 3 promos which are fire. Like who wouldn't at this point? Who wouldn't? So it's like it might just be overperforming. It might just because now we know what these promos are. Like they fix the issues with the deck, but we have to like spend money on them. We have to go and do everything. There's a lot of things that like this set basically is like trying to. Not to mention there's another like what should we call it? There's another campaign going on. It's like if you buy 2 boxes, you get a pack that gives you like 1 of 9 promos, which includes the try 3 promos too. So it's really just like, man, you know, I would be okay with this, but also it's like the issue of, well, how does English get it? Because the way you had the previous campaign for English, we ended up getting Twin Order, and it was $30 on the secondary market. Like, Dimension Police ain't even a competitive deck, but because Twin Order is literally one of the best cards they have, it's still $30. It's the same price as their VR from the first wave from Great Dayusha, and that's an old card.
It's still like it's so expensive. Even Die Dragon, so I'm thinking still hitting 10 to
Yeah,
12.
Die Dragon's pretty thick there. But it's like, you know, you just take a look at that and she's like, holy cow, how'd you mess up there?
Even the reprint from the festival. The festival collection. That one is a different story on its own.
The Dex results didn't have these promos yet? Oh, they didn't? I can't wait to see what happens when they do get them. I'm interested to see what happens there because that could be telling if they ended up doing better now. But it is kind of like, dang, it is a problem of like all these promos are really good excuse me, and help the consistency of these decks out a lot, but you know the issue is so obviously I'm assuming this is why the Clan Selection Plus exists, to get these promos to everybody, you know, like the Rival Collection was to the West of, hey, we have all these promos and sets that we can't really license out to you for whatever reason. So here you go. We have them. We even got you the alternate arts of older promos. If there's not really any promos, we can like transfer to you because you know you already have your stuff already. So you know, I'm assuming this is what's going to happen here. And if that's the case, that's fine. But the issue now comes with... But the issue is now... this. And these two, combined with these two, are both the biggest positive and negative of the reboot. And that is, it's nostalgia pandering. It is the biggest cash grab for nostalgia pandering in the game. And we've only seen 4 old units. But Ashley and Jewel Knights is a really, really well-loved Royal deck that a lot of people feel kind of got screwed over in G onwards. Dauntless is a really powerful card that, a lot of people want to know what's going to happen with him, because he basically single-handedly brought the end back from obscurity. The blood is interesting because, it's still a Draconic Kaiser, Draconic Kaiser Vermilion card. But it's also interesting, but it also has, some interesting, because, the original Draconic Kaiser Vermilion in V is trash. So what is this going to do? What's the interesting part? And then, of course, the Mr. Joker himself over here finally coming out to play, despite the fact that they've had 5 waves to give him a chance to come out. So it's this thing of, this is effectively going to be the biggest nostalgia pander that Vanguard has done in V series. And that's saying a lot considering how many sets we've had. So it is also because the fact that the game is in such a unfortunate state right now. I think for a lot of people, I think we can debate on whether you think Standard's in a good spot or not. I think Standard needs some help, without a doubt. And I think 12 is one to show signs. And I really like this, but I remember what Atlas said on the Next of the Night podcast. Of this stuff is cool. Sets set 12 are really good. This collection plus is really cool. The problem is it might just be too late. It just might be too late. The ship has probably just sailed, and you late to the boat. The ship is sinking, and you just now got a mechanic to help you. But it's you put in too much water. There's too much water in the boat. It might be too late for these guys to help save them. Was it John or Zistral that said basically this is effectively just a giant Hail Mary. This is the Hail Mary to try and save the game, to get enough players back so that when Everdress does come around and they rotate. That was Ben? Yeah, okay, that's fine. But it's basically when we do rotate, inevitably, just a feeling. Just a feeling. I feel like there might be some rotation. You need to make sure you have enough strength so when you announce it, so when you eventually announce it, it's fine. Which now is the biggest question to me of, well, first off, what are your thoughts on that?
It's just I just don't know how to put it in a way. It's just it's still really scummy. It's a Hail Mary set. It's obvious, but people are gonna buy it because it's their favorite. Oh, my avatar is here. I can't wait to bring it back. Even if you look at it, there's no reason for you to be buying product because you're not gonna be playing. You're just gonna have it sit in your deck box, and after a month, new rotation. Looks like I can't play the cards when I have the chance. We're in a pandemic. I've sold almost all my stuff. The only thing I'm keeping is the Nova Gism because it's kind of hard to move. Unless I just hopefully pray someone buys it when the Nova set comes out. It's just that I really don't like the way they're doing this at all. It just it's just been a bad taste in my mouth ever since. Like there's so much stuff they could have done to prevent this, but they obviously really don't care. This that came out earlier on, I would have been fine. I wanted it. I hope they continue doing stuff like this, especially when Overdress comes, so all decks can be playable at least, not just first four clans. You have to wait 6 months until your other clan does.
Which also makes that question that Darius on Freedom Door is like, maybe this set is like kind of like that transition piece between V Series and Overdress. Like it might have the mechanic that Overdress is going to use imprinted into these cards, so that everybody can play while these main boosters start happening. Which, if that's it, then like okay, I'll take it. Or at least I won't like it, but I'll take it. But if it really is just like straight up like this is just hard nostalgia pandering, and I'm different because technically I started midway through the first like G season. I had played Vanguard like bits and pieces here. Like I started with like 2 Narukami trial decks in Breakaway era and built a reindeer deck from a box of commons. So, I definitely was like, I know that era, but I'm not familiar with it enough, like G. So this is like I don't have the as hard of a nostalgia goggles on like some other people. So my opinion is more so just like, this is the era where I should be like, oh snap, I'm hyped, but because I read the air, I'm like, oh, we're just gonna get them all anyway. Eventually, it's more just like who else comes with them. So I have a different opinion on that. So at the end of the day, I think what we're trying to say is the set idea is cool. The execution is terrible. I think that's the biggest thing. Because this could have gone between, oh man, here is this. This could have been, had this been like probably like mid, or like an idea like this been before Shinimon or before If, or at a certain point in between, like I think we wouldn't have this hard disdain that we are for everything else, for the set entirely, because the set is this set in particular is going to come with the emotion, it's gonna sell. It's gonna sell regardless, because you got Chaos Breaker. That's all you needed. That's all you need to do. You just need to show Chaos Breaker. You need to show Ashley. That's all you need to show, and people will still bought this. Like anything else is just a plus for other people. The issue is it's going to have a stain. It's going to have this asterisk on it, right? Because it's coming at a point where Vanguard is the point where Vanguard is probably in its lowest point in a while, if not all time. And so this just feels like a Hail Mary. Like, not to the point of like how I love how I do want to say this though. This is not the sign that Vanguard will die, but it is like a worrying trend. Because it also has the problem of you get one of every card in this set if you buy a box. The only other time Busher has really done that is the Buddy Ragnarok set, which was the last set of Buddy Fight. But they also announced it before, because it's like, hey, this is the last set. These are the last two sets. And then like a week later, they announced to everybody, like, hey, these are the last sets. For English, we're gonna combine them all. You get one of everything, and this is it. That's all you get. So it's very similar to that. And that's a worrying trend. That's more what you should be worrying about. Not this game is not dying, but it's not in a good spot, and Overdress has to effectively put the cape on. Like whoever the main character of Overdress is going to be, they need to put the whole Superman cape on and just go and save everything. These first three Overdress sets have to be fire. Otherwise, then we can say maybe this game might be gone its way out. Which, even then, I still wouldn't doubt it, because we still have the anime. We still have products. We still have products pumping out. We're still selling out. We were still at a point selling out of cases, right? Like up to set 10, they were moving product. Set 11, which is only recently, you can't get rid of it fast enough. That's the only like time in the past year or so where this right now is the only time where there hasn't been like a straight sellout of these sets to the point where you have to make a second print run. Even Bane Dream obviously sold out to the point where it had to get a second print run. And when that comes here, I best believe you, just because of the fact that it's Bane Dream, that's gonna sell out here too. So it's like people are going to eat Vanguard stuff up. And there's always going to be some more still in production. It's the issue of the gameplay is not in a good spot. Opinion, subjectively. The nostalgia pandering has gone on long enough to the point where it's like, I want to move on. I love these units. I remember why I love these units, but it's time to dip. Like, we need to do something new. I mean, I know why they're still doing this, because again, Shinramon was probably the biggest era in standard where most of those cards were either new cards or retrains of C tier units, and that sold like dumpster juice. That sold terribly, or rather, not terribly, but rather it just wasn't good enough. So it's kind of like the unfortunate thing of, despite having interesting ideas, just no one wanted it. Which now comes to my theory, and my theory is as to why Silver Dust Onwards probably was not in a good spot was because I think whatever happened to the point where it's like, oh no, we can't have a card game anime on this channel because it's going to conflict with the idea was like, oh, since Shadowverse was getting a card game anime, because there's like multiple card game anime on that channel probably airing around the same time, I think it'd be best not to have Vanguard there, or we change the genre. So they had to change the genre they had to change Vanguard from a card game anime to a Magical Girl anime. And this comes with the theory, that's a theory, and then it builds onto another theory of the real reason why probably Silver Dust Blaze Onwards were so terribly designed, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, I think the reason why it's designed is because you had no anime. Now hear me out. What I mean is not like, oh, you didn't have an anime so you didn't have to care. I mean, you didn't have that is kind of what I'm trying to say, yes. It's like, but I mean, it's like the card design team has designed cards not only for the game, but also how their fights are going to play out in the anime. If you have, so it's like you get to actually look at the cards more times than you would when you're just doing a regular set, not caring. I think if we kind of look at the extension of, there haven't been like complete tier 0 formats in Vanguard. Oh my goodness. There have been like tier 0 formats up until like this final section, but there have been like wonky formats. But there have been wonky formats. There haven't really been tier 0 formats like Vanguard. I mean, there have been some really, really good decks that overpower a lot, and only like a few can really take care of them until they got hit. But nothing too serious like what happened with Luard to that extent. And what I say is because like you're writing for an anime, you have to look at the cards, look at their effects, and be like, wait, this seems too busted, or wait, this might be not strong enough for the writing and the fight choreography we need to do to make this fight interesting or move the point across. So in a way, it's like, I can't believe saying this, but the anime characters might have been like the play testers. And because you don't have that for If, because really the cards are being used more as like stands than actual like card fights, you don't have the ability to make a double take on these cards. I'm not saying that like whatever had happened with Luard would have happened if you had Emmy play Luard against Naoki and Vanquisher. But I'm saying that there might have been a slight change. Oh shoot, you fell asleep. I'm sorry. Okay, so hold on just a second. Okay, but what do you think of that idea? I know it's dumb, but it's something.
Like, just honestly, like, if they just fix the gameplay and make it just less obnoxious, I think it'll be fine. Like, in terms of the units itself, like, I've been playing since BTO4, OG BTO4 to BTO5, so I kind of have like understand the nostalgia pandering. But for me personally, nostalgia only does so much for me. I can have reminiscent units, but at least let the gameplay be good. Because if I was all in nostalgia pandering, I would buy into every Konami set that supports my favorite archetype, Red Eyes, e.g. Like you can have, because the player base just eats it. That's the thing that I'm just curious about. If all that it needs is just for your favorite units to come back, ignoring the state of the game and or how it is, it's just terrible. It's just basically just products. Give me products. Let me consume. Why are you complaining? This is a good thing. This is the best V set in V ever. But it could have been if the timing was right. We've had. It's just that everyone's so ignoring the bigger picture on the wall that after a month, your favorite card, you won't be able to play it because we're already in a new era. Unless you want to play premium, and look how many people are playing premium. Not so many. There's a reason for it, but I wouldn't either. Like, aside from casual, like playing Victor, sure, maybe. But it's just so many. There's just so many issues I have with it. I just want at least people to be aware. They need to stop settling for everything Bushy does, because you still have people going to playing events at locals, whereas there's still a virus and there's possibility of it was it rotating or basically just I just lost my train of thought. Like there's a possibility for it just for them to continue doing these acts, and it's just annoying. Like, wait.
Yeah, I agree. Just how they've handled this these
Oh yeah,
past pro sets have effectively just like hurt a lot of the trust in the player base.
like I don't trust Bushy. It's bad enough that I have to go to Konami's defense of all companies. If Konami can make a tin to put promos, look at last year, and like with Nibiru and other stuff. Great tin set. Everyone accessibility generic for everyone to use in the side deck option. That tin easily one of my favorite sets in the entire that Konami has ever done. And it's Konami of all people. If Konami can do it, why can't Bushi just studies? Look at what they're doing, especially with the promo issues. The gameplay itself, like current Yu-Gi-Oh, it's just like so. It's basically like the reason why I hate Zazan. It's just basically Zazan with interaction. Same end boards, same everything. It's basically Zazan with interaction. Not to mention that godforsaken Buster Blade card is just so toxic as hell. That only like people who like flavorless popcorn likes to play that card. But it's still in a better state than current Vanguard. It's just so it's just the gameplay is just so boring. Premium itself, it still have issues with Zazan. It still has issues with Huang. It still has so many problems that even after the Zan issue, people don't want to touch it again. It's just not fun. The front of tier one is just like an entire triangle of like board. It's just so not good. I want I'm vocal about these issues because I care for the game. I'm not a blind consumer. If I know there's a problem with the game, I won't support unless the issues are corrected. Because why would I be playing? Why would I be spending my own income just so I can support a company that doesn't want to listen? And this is not the first time we've seen the black suits of Bushi. There have been so many occasions. Like the promos are an example. Example. The main situation is an example. The shop situation is an example. These are just basically just general corporate. Like we've had to settle for so long every single time. It's basically I'm sorry of South Park. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue to do the same issues again. I want the game state to improve. I want the issues to be addressed.
Yeah.
If I'm still gonna be supporting your game, at least let me know as a consumer that you actually are listening.
And they are listening, just not to us.
Yeah, it's basically like look at this. The Zan situation is like the most annoying part because WCC they put so many hours into training, into testing out the Zan itself. Has so much data for the Zan to have been gone to zero. It's still at 1, and it's still an issue. Huang itself is the most uninteractive card I have seen in Vanguard in itself. The Zang created degeneracy, but Huang just makes it impossible for you to to even counteract. To even, because there's nothing stopping that card. You can just like, oh, I can't damage an eye, so let me just swing.
Yeah, it was mostly because Zazan basically like was the primary like fight you're trying to do. So then going to the point of Huang, it's like, oh wait, it's too late. We kind of already just like missed the timing. We'll get it next time.
Look at Gastile's another example. How long has that card missed the ban list? So many times.
It's perfectly fine, man.
Like, oh, this is a fine card. There's no problem with it. There's like I love the Gastile as a deck, but even I'm so tired of it. I want like new. I just want let them nuke the entire tier 1 for premium. Premium is fine as a format. Standard, they need to improve the gameplay. Most games just play the same. Oh, big dude doing this, do that. Like it's just basically simple thinking, and it gets boring at times. Not to mention about how like it's basically just the same. It's just oh, big unga bunga, do this. Oh, crit. Oh, okay, I lost. I guess because it's out of my control. Like there's just so many issues I want them to address in Overdress. If Overdress doesn't address any of the issues, I still won't like. I'd rather be playing Yu-Gi-Oh at this point, even though like I have so many issues with Konami. At least I can do something during my opponent's turn and not just see, oh, no guard, well, because I don't have enough in hand. As much shit I give Konami, because then them themselves, I have, aside from my own gripes, was other video games like Silent Hill, stupid Silent Hill slot machine, and the rarity bumping and all the scummy corporate stuff they did, and this and the evenly matched situation. At least there will be some points that they'll address some issues. Bushi for this entire V series thing has like it's just been bad format after bad format. How many tier zero formats have we had? We have had OTT, we've had Zazan, we've had Riviere. Riviere is not even a problem close enough to what we had this year alone with Zazan and pre-Ban Luard.
It is
Like pre-Ban Luard should have never gone past R&D. Same with Zazan and all.
yeah,
like
but the problem,
pre-Ban Luard.
but I think the problem is now that sorry, I think the problem is now is like, I mean, it can't get through R&D because there is no R&D. The R&D that is there is no R&D. They've been basically working with two people in the janitor to do these cards, and the people to like, especially like, hold on, I mean, there is no R&D. Like, the Japanese team is basically a bunch of monkeys who created one of the worst mechanics in Duel Masters history. So why the heck? So it's like, you know, they only got 5. Imagine this: they basically got 5 sets and got 2 of them right, but the other 3 are so tragically terrible that it invalidates that entirely. And then it's like, okay, well, why aren't the other like people like English Bushiroad or Bush USA doing things? Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the US branch doesn't exist anymore. Basically, it's gone. Ain't nobody there. It's like 5 people in the janitor, just chilling, just basically only there. 5 people in the janitor, just like all drinking tea, while in the middle of California, which is currently on fire.
Like my biggest wish is just for that they just address these issues, and like overdress is my last hope. If
Also,
overdress is just basically just the same, then or any of my issues.
yeah, no.
I
also
it doesn't have to be all the issues that have to be addressed. At least if it's the core issues I have, fine. I'll say okay, they're finally going the right spot. I'll use my income to play their game, because we have to realize we have rights as a consumer. We just can't be letting companies screw us over. Look at like people that play 2K and Madden and FIFA, the EA itself. People still buy them because they're still justifying their reason to do their practices.
yeah.
Like if we're more vocal about it and not supporting the scummy attitudes, you'll be forced to listen, because that is money from our player base. That's money from our income, and we're using our own income. We have the rights to change whatever game we want or company we want, and there's still competition that's coming our way. Gate Rulers in December. Digimon is coming in English in January. People are excited for it, and people will shift away from Vanguard to play other games.
I have that fear of how Vanguard got popular was because Yu-Gi-Oh was in one of its worst formats at that time. Because, you know, Inzectors, ironically, they about to get some more support. But like Inzectors or something was like the best deck, and it was also like a tier 0 format. So boom was like, nah, I'm out, I'm good, I'm dipping, I can't do it anymore. And now here we are, just had a tier 0 format, and here are 2, not 1, but 2 games. One made from Buddy Fight's like original creator, and another like big-ish IP. I mean, not big-ish, especially in the West, but more big than Vanguard. So it's the issue of did Bushiroad just F up at the wrong time? And I think the answer is obviously yes. They made the mistake at the wrong time, and because they decided to hire people who got basically kicked out of Duel Masters to do 5 sets. They got 5 sets and they immediately said, "Nah, we got to reboot." We done fumbled the bag so badly. We have to literally start our game again. Oh my god. Uh, at the end of the day, the whole thing is basically just saying we want to have Vanguard fun. We want to play Vanguard. The amount of like itch I was having to play Vanguard with my friends is crazy. It's like, so it's like, but I'm not gonna go out to like locals and just put myself at risk because I got people that depend on me. I got people I depend on, and if something happens to any of us, we're screwed. So I gotta keep things together. And with that, I say this as honest as I can. Of I want I don't want to get out of the get out of the cocoa virus ravaging the world, and I can't play my favorite game. That would just be painful. I don't know. I'd probably cry. Just like
Yes,
we middle of a global pandemic, and like we finally free. Like we see the light. It's like the ending of Teen Titans. Like you remember how Teen Titans ended, right?
Yeah.
Like that moment they all finally all are able to go back after season 4 where they've been gone from everywhere, and then they go back and like their hangout spot is closed. All everything's moved on. And it's just like it's sad. It's like, dang, what done happened? So I definitely don't want that for Vanguard. And no one wants that for Vanguard unless you're like a salty Buddyfight player that's so mad that Vanguard's still alive that you want to do everything you can to make sure that you just say F Vanguard and talk crap about it for nonstop times. but I ain't talking about nobody. But I definitely I'll be fine if Digimon succeeds. I'll be fine if Gate Ruler's cool. But I won't be fine if Vanguard basically killed itself because of mistakes that Bushy's made. I remember when we originally got the reboot announcement, how Kadani Wasey was pleading on stage to at least give this a try. And for a while, I believed him, but for a while I was willing to give this a chance. And I enjoyed it. There's some bad moments here, there's some good moments here. But definitely was like, okay. You're trying to at least say that you're trying something different. And it took 3 years, but unfortunately I don't think it's worked out. I think the long game, the short game was okay. I think the long game just finally just fizzled out. I think it just ran out of juice. And I don't want the Vanguard as a whole to run out of juice because I still love this IP. I still say I still think if they did more with the characters, because they've got fine character designs. Trust me, if they had mats that not just had Vanguard units, but also probably some of the anime characters as well. Oh, people eat that up. Do you know how many people are still hunting for that Misaki and Corn mat?
Look at the sleeves for Rin.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I have to mention.
Yes.
If you bring a set filled with Rin merchandise, the entire that night of pre-orders will be gone.
Yeah, it's that's why I had the idea of maybe one day they had kind of like what Buddyfight did for a special set of, have the anime character with their unit and be a reprint, an alternate art reprint of this card that helps bring the price down.
Yeah, if they bring they just need to. Why I want the Buddyfight team to also go into not the BS part of it, but just the good aesthetics of it to go into Vanguard because it needs some new air. If they start bringing some new air and people like it, people will surely come back.
It's it's like having a coach for like a team of like really good players, you know, they're really good players, and it's just like, but the coach gets fired when you don't make it. It's like it's basically like you need a new voice because they've heard your voice for too long. You need to change things up, and I think having a new era with new cards, not new cards, but this, but like more new card designs. Cause let's be honest here, I think we've all finally started got. I think we've been tired of seeing Blaster Blade. We've been tired of seeing Dragon Global Lord. We've been tired of seeing Blaster Dark and Phantom Blaster Dragon. We've been tired of seeing these units over and over again. The only reason why we're not burned out on the G ones was because a lot of people didn't play G, or didn't some people didn't play G but went to standard and now seeing these units like Chrono Jet or Asha and like, oh, these are cool. These are pretty cool. Like, I appreciate these arts and artworks and everything there. So something that helps that. But if Vanguard can't make it in Overdress, ooh, I fear. And I love this.
Like I just hope they can, because I don't want to see, like, if I immediately I see Blaster Blade, I'm like, nah, I'm 100% done. Because they can't be sticking with nostalgia forever. Even I'm tired of the G units. I'm even tired of the G unit. I just want like new content.
Yeah, new content.
Look at what made G successful. Sure, you use legacy support, but the legacy support never aside from a few cases like Royal Paladin and Kagro, and maybe Link Joker, but I'll put that on the maybe side. The G characters itself the OG characters itself never overshadowed the G characters.
And yeah, and that never really happened until like the last like season.
Yeah, and it was still legacy support, which is still like, but then like that's a whole different story. But still, people love the G unit because it was a breath of fresh air. Oh, these are like something new. These like Gear Chronicle itself, Neo Nectar, even Royal Paladin of all clans.
Yeah,
like people have a lot of found memories with Saltmal more than Blaster Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Even Neo Nectar fans, where Neo Nectar in the pre-G was just a non-existent clan, and they just made a character clan with Asha. Even though Asha didn't get good support, Blue Asha to this day is still one of my favorite cards in the game.
Yeah, so
like. I still wish I got the SP for it, but still.
Yeah.
But that's
the SP is beautiful. I won't lie. So it's been like 2.5 hours. To kind of wrap this up. At the end of the day, the set is fine by itself. The issue is not the set. The issue is everything around it. All of the mistakes Bishop has made. All of the power creep cards. All the promos that are 4-ups that everybody needs, and I think also just like, the issue. Oh, but like hold on, let me talk about this too. Like, even, and you can take a look at Vanguard IF. It's like, why is IF constantly trending on Twitter? Because it's doing something new. Even if it's the same cast, you can change characters. Well, not change characters. You can still develop characters so that they still feel fresh. You can still put them in positions where they feel, interesting. Like, you can do different things with with the cast. You can do different things with the cast to an extent, right? Like, that's why if it's getting by is because you're doing things with the cast, especially cast members that never really got that much like look, like Emmy, like Suiko.
I have never in my life expected, like, even if I was watching the anime itself, I would like Suiko and Emmy that much. Like, among all the like they're doing something with If, because what made Shinimon shine so well was the characters and the story. The fights were always just
They were
eh.
secondary, and we could have a discussion later uh, about the anime and what it could do better or what it could do differently. But that's for a discussion for another day. But anyway, long story short, the set's fine. The issue is everything around it, and it poses a greater. It is unintentionally everything right and everything wrong with V as a whole for the past 3-4 years. And going into the 10th anniversary, it would be a shame if the 10th anniversary we just lose the game. It'd be a shame how we just we made it past 10 years. Okay, we're done. But with that being said, thanks for coming to do the stream. I appreciate it. So with that, yep. Uh, so with that, we're gonna call it a day. I'm gonna have this transfer to the YouTube channel. Upload this to the YouTube channel so that it's not just auto deleted from whatchamacallit. Have that there. Let's see, create a dashboard. And with that, we're gonna call it a stream. I'll see y'all tomorrow for something. And with that, we're gonna call it a day. So with that being said, y'all have a good night. I'll see if there's anyone around. Let's see. Hold on, let me see if there's anyone around to see what I could raid for everything. Is anyone dudes here right now? Oh yeah, we can send you to. I'm gonna send y'all to David Wu, because why not? Anyway, y'all have a good night.